Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I like to discuss Nigel Farage's latest take on Brexit, in which he admits there are no benefits for ordinary people other than this vacuous feeling of independence. Except, of course, ordinary people are now much less independent, as is easy to demonstrate. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel. So, Nigel Farage is in the jungle, getting paid a fortune, £1.5 million. £1.5 million. And doesn't even appear to have to carry out the same unpleasant trials as others, as far as I can tell. In other words, Farage is on the show representing the typical Brexit snowflake. Happy to tell others to take the pain, but not prepared to do it themselves. Oh, but they still want a load of cash? But in one clipped exchange, posted to Twitter, otherwise I'd never have seen it, he is asked, what are the benefits to an ordinary person? Someone gets right to it. Because that's the key question. It's been the key question for years. Whenever they bang on about, oh, we can make our own trade deals, we could do this, we could do that. None of that is anything that ordinary people benefit from. What do ordinary people benefit from? Because our trade deals are all undercutting British businesses. I've got another video out this week on the latest example of that, putting another 160,000 jobs at risk. What benefit do ordinary people get from Brexit? Never seems to be an answer to it. And there was no such answer emanating from Farage either. When he was asked the question on the show, he responded, oh, knowing that we're independent and can stand on our own 2 feet in the world. But this is a nonsense. A couple of reasons. Like, first of all, what he's alluding to is a feeling, not a fact. People could have felt that whilst we were in the EU. Secondly, we're not independent. What was it? One of the things the Brexiteers kept moaning about? Oh, the Westminster, UK Parliament keeps adopting rules that were agreed in Brussels. Yeah, that's still going on. We're still adopting rules agreed in Brussels because if we don't, we screw over even more businesses wanting to trade with the EU. The difference is that we used to make those decisions in Brussels. They treated it as if Brussels was this it was a foreign parliament. No, it wasn't. We were part of it. Big part of it. About 97 to 98% of all EU rules were either suggested by or supported by the UK government of the time. Now, we're not involved in those decisions anymore, but we're still adopting the rules. Parliament is still adopting rules that were agreed in Brussels, and British businesses are demanding they do that. You know, there were many things which the media failed to explain to the public during the Brexit campaign and since. But one of the big ones when it comes to this idea of rules taking is you follow the rules of your export markets. So leaving the EU was never going to stop us following EU rules. You know, all it allowed us to do was lower the standards for businesses in other countries selling to us. That was it. That's not a benefit to ordinary people in the UK. It's not a benefit to the UK as a whole. Brexit means that our producers have to maintain high standards so that they can sell their products, but other countries can produce lower standard goods for our market. This means that British consumers get lower quality goods and services, and we undercut British producers at the same time. Why was this never explained? As for standing on our own 2 feet in the world, well, give me an example. What have we done in the world that we couldn't have done inside the EU? You know, some Brexiteers talk about Ukraine. Oh, Ukraine, we're doing our thing there. It says, since when has EU membership impacted our foreign military decisions? Did the EU tell us to invade Iraq with America? No, in fact, every other EU member state said you probably don't want to do that. Being a member of the EU didn't stop us involving ourselves in military operations, both constructive and destructive alike. Had no bearing at all, was never even brought up. Our military alliance is NATO, not the EU. So what else? Oh, the COVID vaccine. Again, the EU do not tell countries how to arrange their healthcare provision. That's why there's so much variation of healthcare systems in the EU. As long as the level playing field is maintained, you can do what you like. Not every EU member even chose to be part of the EU scheme, so it wasn't a requirement. Mind you, those who were part of it, an awful lot of them ended up with way better delivery than we did. Also, the head of our vaccine programme confirmed that we could only begin as early as we did thanks to our membership of the European Medicines Agency. So it's another Brexit lie to suggest that leaving the EU allowed us to do something which the public broadly approve of. It's a lie. It's deliberate misinformation. Had no impact on our vaccine programme, no impact on our military support for Ukraine. Although, if we're going to talk about Ukraine, if we were members of the EU, we might have been under more pressure to apply sanctions to Putin's oligarchs. Instead, we now have the grotesque situation where a senior Tory MP is now the highest paid MP in Parliament. Why? Because he's working for a Russian oligarch. So Brexit might benefit him. That's not a benefit to ordinary people that our elected representatives can sell the country out to the Kremlin. So the question remains, what is a tangible benefit of Brexit to ordinary people? Because the downsides are clear. We have higher core inflation as a result of Brexit. Nobody's saying that inflation is entirely the fault of Brexit. People go, oh, you can't blame everything on Brexit. No one's trying to blame everything on Brexit. But there is a Brexit element to inflation. In other words, inflation would be lower than it is if it weren't for Brexit. And it's caused by the extra cost of both importing and exporting. We know those costs exist. You can't deny them. It costs money now to export because you've got to fill in lots of paperwork. There are fees, health certificates, things like that. We know that. So that's an extra cost that gets added to the price thing. That's inflation. And then there's costs for importing as well. That is down to Brexit red tape. That's undeniable. We have shortages of some foods. We have a lot of fresh food that doesn't stay fresh for very long. And this happened the moment we left the single market. It was noticed by anyone who actually does the shopping and wanted to notice it. We've got shortage of medicines. And those shortages are now critical. Again, I've talked about this in a separate video quite recently. When I say shortage, I don't mean, oh, but you could look at that country and that country. They've got some shortage of medicines. We used to have shortages. Yeah, a few. It's now huge. The shortages we've got are on a scale never seen before. That's what I say when I mean we're short of medicines, that it's a critical shortage, that the scale is staggering. We've got badly polluted waterways because the government has lowered our environmental standards well below EU levels, in practical terms. They could say, oh, no, we're still maintaining high standards. Yeah, but you're not monitoring them and you're not punishing those who are polluting. So it's like our standards are lower. They've wasted no time with that either. The ink wasn't even dry on the Brexit deal when the government were ramming through the Environment Bill, selling off our green and pleasant land in return for corporate profits. That's not a benefit to ordinary people either. Right now, there's a battle within the Conservative Party between those who want to remove all our human rights and those who want to steal what's left of our national assets before the election. Neither side is benefiting ordinary people. In fact, we're stuck hoping the thieves win that particular battle. Reminds me of a French presidential election some years ago between Chirac and Le Pen Senior. Those on the left dismayed with the choice, as you can imagine, but they ran a campaign slogan, vote for the crook, not the Nazi. And never mind Farage happy to admit that ordinary people are gaining no tangible benefits. Even though they were promised tangible benefits in the campaign. Let's look at what happens when a Brexiteer actually tries to claim a tangible benefit. What have we ended up with? Oh, happy fish. Crowns on pint glasses, which we still don't have. Hormone-injected beef on the horizon. Imagine if they ran their Brexit campaign honestly in 2016. Like, if they'd argued for us to leave because it would mean British fish are happy, or that we could get lower quality food, or that it would mean energy companies doubling the prices whilst polluting rivers and lakes to squeeze out more profits before going bust. Imagine if it actually presented an accurate picture of what Brexit Britain would look like for ordinary people. They'd never have won that referendum, and the result wouldn't have even been close. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. I hope you found the video interesting. If you did, please click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, the join button for memberships. And until next time, I'll see you later.